What is going on, everybody? Joey with Tactical Response. Thank you, as always, for watching. So today, the video that we have for you is a small piece of the recent sit-down talk that I had with Andrew. So Andrew over at Combat Art Training came down. He did his Proving Grounds pistol. If you guys watched the live stream, we talked about it a bunch there, so on and so forth. Very, very good class. I had a lot of fun, and it was how to describe it. It was an eye-opening experience, that's for sure. So with that being said, this is a long-form video. It was just supposed to be a quick video that went up on this channel, but because we ended up getting into such a long discussion over the importance of training other than the shooting side of it, so we talk a lot about medical, some low-light stuff, some force on force, because we talked so long, that ended up as a whole podcast style video that goes up on our Tactical Response Talks channel. That's where we put all these long form videos. So if you didn't know that we had that channel, now you do. If you like however Shelton cuts this up, but I believe it's going to be the first 15 to 20 minutes of our conversation. If you enjoy this style of content, head on over there to Tactical Response Talks. We already have a bunch of good podcasts up over there. Heather and Matt Reynolds from Barbell Logic sat down, had a very good talk. Andrew and I have talked once before. Of course, the talk you're about to see is awesome. So everybody that's come on has been a blast to have on and chat with. We just wrapped up a force on force class that Andrew is kind of mashing together and tweaking and this and that, and I had a blast. It was so much fun. If you watched the Patreon stream last night, you know how much fun I had. I was already talking about it that whole night until you guys showed up, and then I let you guys talk about it. You know? But anyway, so you're getting ready to head out today, and you were like, hey, we should sit down and talk about some stuff. So
I love doing videos with you guys whenever I'm here. So yeah.
Easy peasy, man. So you were kind of tossing out some ideas and everything like that, but what I know earlier you mentioned force on force, which we've talked a bunch about, but what's on your mind?
So I was just thinking about like the importance of doing classes outside of the shooting classes, because like guys love coming to fighting pistol because they know they get to shoot a pistol a bunch. Even Jaeger said we put 1,000 rounds on the gear list to get you to come to the mindset lecture,
right?
Which is, especially after you take the class several times, that does become many people's favorite part. But even more so, once they do classes outside of shooting classes, then that mindset lecture marinates better. It takes, you're able to take in more information from it. Like for me, doing the fight and having weirdo encounters at the gas station in Dade City, Florida, that made it like, okay, now I see the things more that he talks about in the lecture.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about talking about today stuff outside of the just shooting classes. So force on force, medical, low light, hand-to-hand stuff, and just kind of like exploring like the importance of that, because I think a lot of people who haven't come here to train before, they think that's what it is. It's just how to shoot gun, how to reload gun.
Right. Yeah.
So, Joey, for you, what was like outside of a shooting class? What was like kind of like the stuff you did initially that made you go like, oh, it's not just about the shooting part?
Okay.
Can you remember?
Yeah. So, for me personally, the mindset lecture, of course, is so I know that's a shooting class, or it's a fighting class, mindset and stuff like that. But hearing the mindset lecture all those years ago was like, oh, this isn't just about being good at shooting the gun,
right?
But if we branch outside of fighting pistol, and much like the first time I took the fight, I mean, you think like you take a class like fighting pistol where you get very good at drawing your gun, shooting it, and then you get the mindset lecture and you're like, oh, like I've got this. This is going to be easy. Like I'm ready for this gunfight. And then you take the fight and you're like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Why are you so mean? Like all that stuff.
Why are the cops mad at me? I told them I was a good guy.
Yeah, I told him. I had to shoot. He was making a move. I had to get it on, But yeah, no, I mean, it's all of that. So the fight was a big eye opener. And in particular, the thing that stood out to me in that class, there's one scenario in in particular, and I don't want to say the name of it,
Right.
but it's one where you are not put into a good situation. The lessons we teach are about lines in the sand.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know which one it is, but you need a deposit slip. And anyway, so some things happen, and that was I was like, oh, this isn't about, like, it doesn't matter how good I am, what my split times are, what my draw time is. If I give up these things, I will not be able to overcome them.
Right.
You know. So
yeah, and it's because like the decision making in that class. That's why way I describe the fight is it's a decision making class. It's not a shooting class or even a fighting class. Really, that part matters a lot, but it's what matters even more is like, why did you do that?
Yep.
What could you have done differently? And the big lessons in there. And then, like for me, it made me think about what my priorities were, as in, who am I willing to kill for? Who am I willing to die for? Who am I willing to go to the hospital for? Who am I willing to go to jail for? Who am I willing to be put on the news, you know, and just made into the bad guy and no one wants to talk to me for the rest of my life for?
Right.
And that made thinking about that stuff made the fight continues a lot better.
Right.
Because like, you know, the way I describe fight continues is like, yeah, it's like the fight, but there's a lot less black and white. You know, they're harder decisions to make.
Yeah. So, so for you, flip that question back to you. Like, what was your first experience with a class where you were like, oh, like, you know, open that worldview up?
Yeah. So for me, it was the fight also. Yeah. Well, actually, no, because we were actually at that like huge immediate action medical class where there was like almost like 30 people, because not a lot of people sign for medical. And that's why I think this is a good video to make, is people think, oh, I do the shooting stuff. Nah, I watched the video, or I did one medical class, I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
So in there, you know, back up a little bit. When I took Fighting Pistol, I got to meet James and talk to him. And I said I was going to take Advanced Fighting Pistol next. He said, you need to take me Action Medical. I was like, well, I done, you know, Combat Lifesaver, CLS, TCCC class in the Marine Corps. You know, I think, you know, I'm good on that. And he's like, listen, you need to take Immediate Action Medical. And I was like, okay. All right. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to be open minded. So I will. I don't think I need it. I know I'm right, you know, but then when I went there were things I discovered, like, and like things that I've shown people that you would think are medical professionals, because they literally are. But, you know, professional, we think means that they're super good at stuff. It really means they get paid to do stuff.
Right.
So we've all met professionals that are not good at stuff. Professionals, you know, and it's not to dog on anyone. It's just like, hey, it's just the way things are. So things I learned in Immediate Action Medical that were a big eye opener for me, to make me, you know, like humble me, make me realize, oh, I do need to get better, is well, number one, I wasn't good at tourniquets. You know? Number two, they showed us how to reset the tourniquet. Such a simple thing, right? You would think. Because you're here. Yeah. They didn't show us that in the Marine Corps. And so I put tourniquets in as like a standard thing we do in class, in shooting classes. And it's for this same purpose, is I want people to go, oh, dude, I need a medical class, and that thing is hard, and I need to learn how to do that well. And I'm like, yeah, like this is the one thing where you can just get good at it after this, and it could save your life. And I tell them too, it's like, if you bleed to death because you choose not to practice, that's completely your fault. Also, if someone else bleeds to death because you choose not to practice this, that's your fault. So like resetting the tourniquet, man, I used to think that it took 15 rotations on a cat tourniquet to get it tight, and that's why those are garbage and I don't want it. And at the time, I actually preferred the rats because of that. Now, when I came to class and they showed us to reset it, and I was like, oh, and then it takes me like 3 rotations at most to get it tight when I do a good job. And then I go, oh man, I was dumb about that. And then I also learned that, like, oh, I'm putting gaps in my rat's tourniquet You know, like the high and tight I understood, but there were gaps. So I wasn't doing a good job at applying it. So like, it was funny. I talked to Kayla. I'm like, I actually took down my rats video. She's like, why were you talking shit? I was like, no, it's because I did it wrong. Like, I don't want that example out there for people to follow.
Right.
And so that was a big eye opener. And then it was like, keep your head up while you apply this. Struggle. And you know what? You know, like, it makes me look at whenever I watch a video of someone applying a tourniquet, they're looking at it, I'm like, that dude sucks at applying a tourniquet. It also makes me think, like, whenever you see that white time tab over the, like on a cat tourniquet, I go, he does not practice tourniquets. Because if he did, he would take that shit off.
Right.
Like he would set it to the side somewhere. And so, you know, like just that alone in tourniquets was a big deal, but also like realizing, no, I wasn't 100% clear on what I need to do on medical. Like there would have been delays if I had to do something and had to address certain situations. And if I did do anything, I would have been sucked into the thing I was doing. I wouldn't have had any situational awareness. Now, you always hear those NPC cliches like, you know, oh, well, you only put a tourniquet on when all the bad guys are down. Like, okay, hopefully.
Yeah.
Did you go kill every bad guy in the world? Did you go check that guy's pulse? Like when they were talked about keeping your head up, and it made me think about the first time I did only time I did a ride along, and we came up on a dude who was shot. I thought he was dead. He stood right back up and went, oh, fuck, I've been shot. I got to get out of here, and started booking it.
Damn.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like The Walking Dead. And I've heard many other stories of stuff like that. Specifically, there's a Marine that I plan on doing a video with, and hopefully you guys get a chance to too. And the story I've heard, you know, this is third party, me hearing it. But he is paralyzed in a wheelchair for the rest of his life because he was trying to retain an empty magazine. And that dude got back up.
Damn.
So, like there were so many important lessons in there. And that's like kind of thing where, you know, like we were talking about last night, someone will say it's a good class. Like, oh, it's an awesome class. You need to take it. Doesn't fucking mean anything. Like, but when I say like, some of these classes will open your eyes and change the way you think about everything. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I want to make this video. So that was a big like, oh shit, okay, I need to, you know, change the way I do all this. I didn't do nearly as good in medical as I thought I did. I mean, it wasn't horrible. It's just like my expectations was I was going to be a rock star. I was not a rock star. And then the fight, I was like, okay, you know, I think I got this. Like, because well, now I got the medical down. I'm definitely good at shooting.
Yep.
Not a shooting class.
No.
Decision-making class.
Yeah.
So, you know, shot the wrong person. That happened. Put myself in fights I didn't need to be in.
Yeah.
Very humbling. You know, even like it was hard too because, you know, as you remember, Ashley was there with me. Yeah. Thank God the scenario where she was watching me, I did good.
Absolutely.
Dude, that would be rough. Like you're like, oh, I thought you were, you know, like, I didn't know you were a pussy, you know, you know, but like, I had one scenario where, you know, me looking for a gunfight got me in a gunfight, and I realized like, and then I would have lost that gunfight hard. Like the role players weren't as hard on me because they're trying to push you towards a better decision. Right. But if they were like real bad guys, they would have fucking killed me. Yeah. And so then I had to go sit next to Ashley after that. And dude, I couldn't even like look at her. Like I felt terrible. I'm like, dude, I'm not going home to my kid. I'm not going home to you. Like I'm gone because I was a dumbass. Right. And that's it. But failure is such a good teacher. It's the best teacher you could possibly have. And so like for guys watching, don't be afraid of it. Like, dude, you want to fail in class. That is awesome. Even like when I just did fighting revolver, backup gun, awesome classes. They're shooting classes, but they're outside the normal shooting classes that you would take. So I liked them specifically because of that. But even in there, I was not pushing accuracy. I was like pushing, like, I'm going to shoot as hard and fast as I possibly can. And if I miss like crazy, I'm going to adjust to that. I'm going to know how to practice better.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, so not to get off on too much on a skill tangent, but Farnham says you should have 80% hits and 20% misses.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that's how you know that you're pushing yourself at an appropriate level. So when you go to a class and you just sit there and you shoot out the A, you're not really learning anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pushing yourself, trying to find those limits. But it's bringing up medical. When I took medical, I started this whole thing, and I know you know this, but I had no experience,
Mm-hmm.
like none. I had no idea about guns. I had no idea about medical stuff. I'd never had any type of training at all before I started taking classes here. And that medical class was like such an eye opener for me because I had no idea. I was such a naive kid. I had
Mm-hmm.
no idea that someone could die
Mm-hmm.
in minutes from a cut, from arterial bleed.
Yeah.
And things like that, and I had just, like, Heather and I were just having Bane. So like now I have like this wife and kid that I need to protect and stuff like that.
You have the responsibility fucking weight drop on you, and then you go, oh wait, this is hard to like protect him also. And then it like quadruples.
Exactly.
Man, yeah.
What a wonderful talk from some handsome and rugged individuals, if I do say so myself. No, again, it's always a blast to have Andrew down. The dude is a super nerd when it comes to this stuff, but let us know down in the comments below, what was your first eye-opening class that made you realize that there is more to this than just the shooting side of it? And with that being said, if you haven't gotten the type of training that we're talking about, the medical and the force on force in particular, we do offer that here at Tactical Response. And the good thing about those two classes, they don't require a round count. So there's no ammo costs for it. All you're going to have to do is pay the tuition. We can even help you cut out the lodging. Get a spot in the team room, lodging's taken care of, and come down and get this other piece of the puzzle that you may be missing. Anyway, guys, again, let us know down in the comments what you thought. Like the video, share it, all that good stuff, normal. It does matter. So if you have the time, please do those things. Like it, subscribe to the channel, so on and so forth. And remember, your responsibility to be ready for the fight never ends.